Allowed 24 years, always the first. Where he started with his age.
When we had longer movies or longer YouTube videos, nobody was asking for reels, but now there are reels, everyone's spending time on reels.
Welcome to the table.
The Gen Z based home decor brand.
What's a Gen Z based home decor? How is it different from other human beings who
Sort of even tried to reach out to the bigger glass manufacturers in the country, and with them the issue is quantities.
Welcome to another edition of Startup Table with AJ. AJ being me, Archana Jahagirdar, and we are in the Rukam Capital office, of which I am the founder. Again, as always, I've got a great cohort of founders, early stage founders, because we really believe that the early stage founders need support, need encouragement, and need great conversations like the one we're about to have. Welcome everyone. We'll start with quick introductions, names, if anybody wants to talk about their background, and of course your startup. I'll start with you. So please.
Hi Archana, I'm Nitin. I'm the founder of Dress Folk, which is an Indian wear brand for women, where we are working on modernizing India's traditional handlooms and crafts and bringing them in a very contemporary avatar. We started with saris as the first category, and now we are doing salwar suits, kurta sets, and making it for the world.
Great.
Hey Archana, this is Arjun. I run Gully Labs. We sell India-inspired sneakers to folks all around the world. And we started last year, and it's been...
Is the name inspired by Gully Boys?
No, not really. It's inspired by gully as in street, and gully is a word that is very recognizable all around the world as well. And labs as in like we don't want to be boxed into just one kind of person or a company. So I think it's a, voice towards us being very experimentative and opinionated. So hence Gully Labs. And
so welcome to all your opinions on this table. Yes.
Hi, my name is Arun. I'm the founder of Winder. I'm building performance wear, which is designed for India, starting with running shoes. I have been an endurance athlete for many years now. And I realized the problem with the quality of the stuff that we are getting and at the price points that we typically buy. So yeah, solving for that.
Great.
Hi, I'm Ayush. I'm a 24-year-old entrepreneur, right? And I have been building my second venture, which is called VR Notice. It's a Gen Z based home decor brand.
What's a Gen Z based home decor? How is it different from other human beings who also have home decor?
So like focusing on a niche, who are being very individualistic, something in those angles.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Raghav, aka the Comfort Man. So I'm the founder of the brand called Trajectory. So we make everyday life of people like you comfortable so that you can live your life pain-free and aram se.
Thank you for that.
Hi, I'm Garima. I'm one of the co-founders of Fraganote. We are a premium fragrances brand, and we are basically making luxury fragrances more accessible and affordable in India for everyone.
Hi, I'm Sambuddha. I'm the founder of Lemonade. We're a refreshing take on luxury, so we make luxury radically affordable. Luxury has traditionally been catered to the top 1%. Our goal is to bring that quality to the next 10%. Multi-category focused on menswear.
Okay, great. Welcome everyone. So in all your categories that everybody's trying to build in the fashion apparel space, what would you say is the number one challenge in the category itself? Whoever wants to start can start. And then we'll move with whoever wants to be the next and so on and so forth.
I think different categories have different dynamics. I think we actually started with 5 categories. Goal was deliberately to be designed ourselves as a truly multi-category brand. And we did home, we did sneakers, we did women's wear, we did menswear. And, different categories have different challenges. We found PMF in menswear, so that's where we bulldozed in. We felt home was, high quality home was very, very high priced. India wasn't ready. I think sneakers, our challenge was to make the P&L work because returns were really, really high, and that killed. Even though you seem too positive, returns didn't sort of make sense. I think women's wear is extremely competitive, and you just need dramatically large assortment and great pricing.
You're basically addressing everybody's pain points on this table single-handedly.
And then we came to men's.
So you're clearly, articulating everybody else's problems. Maybe give others a chance as well.
Thankfully, pick the easiest one now, the least competitive category, and I think.
All right.
I think in performance footwear, it's a lot to do with manufacturing. I think it is improving. The ecosystem is improving. But yeah, finding that right mix, finding that right quality that you really want to provide. I think that is kind of a bit of a challenge.
So you mean to say the lowers and the uppers is what you don't get here?
Yeah, specifically about the soles, about the midsoles that I would want to use in my product. That is still a problem. And then associated problems is that you can get quality, but then quality comes at a price. Quality comes with their MOQ.
And there's no R&D happening on this in India.
There is R&D happening, but yeah, if you compare with China or Vietnam, I think we are definitely a little behind. We are catching up, and there is active R&D happening now. So a lot of these international brands have started setting up their factories. Particularly, I think in Tamil Nadu there is like a lot of activity that is happening. So it will push it up really fast. But yeah, right now it's kind of a problem that needs to be solved.
So supply chain has been your biggest.
Yeah, supply chain.
Got it.
Product differentiation, because apparel, lifestyle, these are categories where the entry barriers are not there much. So it's easy for people to start, which happens. But for a consumer to recognize a brand, to associate themselves with a brand, there has to be a very strong product differentiation. So how we work is that we are working with all the artisans and craftsmen of the country. We design everything, but this is handmade by artisans across the country in like the remotest villages. So that's why we were able to bring that differentiation, and that is what resonated with our consumers. Consumers buy the product because it solves a need or want for them, but the association of handmade and made of India. So we say we are not just made in India, but we are made of India. And once the consumers...
That's a good tagline, made of India. Yeah, I'm hearing it for the first time.
Thank you. And once consumers understand that, okay, this is hand woven and this is so different, this is not something that somebody from China or a Surat can make. And that's where the customer loyalty and repeat customer rate becomes better.
Okay. Who else has had problems?
For us, I would say we started 6 years back, and we analyzed all the categories. We were trying to find कि subcategory में क्या issue है. For example, maybe clothing में they have such a high return rate. Plus you have to manufacture a lot of stock. Different sizes, different colors. Maybe glass-based category or home decor category, it has high return because it breaks. So we used to.
सबके problem state कर रहे हो. This side of the table is clearly able to articulate everybody's problems. Please.
So that's why we chose our category, because यहाँ पे brands नहीं थे. The product quality wasn't substantial. That customer wanted certain things, and we delivered that, and that's where we found our niche. So the kind of niches they are doing, I'm commendable कि आप कैसे manage कर रहे हो. That's a big salute.
Okay.
I have one perspective, and of course everyone had like very relevant points. But another cut to this is just building trust. I think that's a lunch you have to earn every day, and it comes out.
How do you earn your lunch every day?
And it's just I feel like building the right culture in the team, in the company. It's a very sort of cultural thing. I feel every communication that goes out to the customer, everything that you represent on the product when you ship it out, be it stuff like delivery timelines, quality, everything, you can't falter, especially for physical products, especially for you promising to do something. And I feel like it's very cultural. It is something that has to be really ingrained in the company, every single person, because you're representing the company. And you can't be relaxed about it. If you get relaxed, then it's a very slippery slope. And I believe for a lot of consumer brands, the brand is the thing that keeps getting people back. And that is how really big brands in the world have been built. And they can command such high value. And I feel like that only comes through trust. And I feel like, and this is my sort of belief, that India is a very low trust country. And if you can build trust in categories, you can build immense companies here, because people want that trust. And I feel like it's the easiest thing to say, but the hardest thing to do.
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I agree with Arjun, right? I think India is, when they land on a website, उनका बस यही है कि मैं कैसे निकलूँ यहाँ से, या क्या कौन से points मैं देखूँ, right? So for me, the other point was, procurement, right? I'm running a home decor business, right? तो procurement में details जो यहाँ के manufacturers हैं, उनको like थोड़ा समझाना बहुत difficult होता है. And me being in a home decor category,
है attitude basically.
हाँ कि चला लो, बिक जाएगा, consumers ही हैं, right? And being मुझे brand build करना है, तो उस कैटेगरी में थोड़ा सा इशू आ रहा है कि चला लो, वो सब एक बहुत बड़ा हो रहा है. और फिर MOQs मीट करना, like being young and like 6 months old, फिर वो सब चलता है. तो just been hustling around, that's the plan.
Okay.
Right.
So I sort of feel like everybody has already summed up all the problems that I've faced and we face in this category. But because we are a fragrance category and we are selling online, the biggest problem is consumer trust on the consumer side. To be able to tell them that this is a fragrance that will smell a certain way, and replacing the offline sort of smelling on your wrist and trying it experience has been one of the biggest challenges for us. On the business side, the biggest challenge for us has been supply of good raw material, especially glass. This chalta hai attitude that you were talking about, like we wanted a certain type of fire polished, lacquer polished bottle and a magnetic cap for our bottle, because we are trying to.
Oh, I love magnetic caps on my perfume bottles.
Then you'll love our bottle.
Yeah.
So we wanted to go sort of beyond just the ordinary and offer a better unboxing experience. But nobody here was even trying to give it a shot. I mean, MOQ was the second issue after that, but so we had to go to China, we had to get it from there. So this, we definitely faced an issue in terms of procurement. But yes, trust on the consumer side and supply of the right raw materials on the business side.
So all the challenges that everybody's talked about, I think supply chain has been the most sort of consistent across for everyone. How does one, like a small startup, try and solve for that? Because that's a deep ingrained ecosystem issue, right? So if you don't want to go to China, if you want to source locally, like, are there any solutions? Or have you guys thought about the solution? Maybe you've not implemented it, but do you have ideas or thoughts or solutions for this?
So, can I go first? Right.
Of course.
Right. So, this
We
is my
allow
second
24
venture.
years, always the first. Where he started with his age. I've seen this, it's a complete aside by the way, and no disrespect to your age group, but everybody who's 24 starts by saying, I'm 24. We have a young analyst in the office who will say, I'm the youngest, I'm 23. I said, you'll be 24 also, then you'll be 30, and then
My
anyway.
excuse was, just to
No,
mistake.
fair. Just pulling your
Young
leg.
Sheldon has to.
Yeah, just pulling
So,
your leg.
this is my second business, right? And earlier I was running a customized gift store, right? अब customized gift store में एक parcel एक जन के लिए बनेगा और वो ऐसे 1000 बनेंगे. So what I did, I picked out the right people. Example, I sell a LED logo. It's very simple, जो आप boards देखते हो. अब मैं सोचा कि इसको customize घर पे बना दो. जैसे लिवरपूल हो गया, मैनचेस्टर हो गया. So what I did, I picked out these small vendors जो shop के लिए बनाते हैं. मैंने उनको बोला simple कि I'll give you order every day 30 pieces. आपको एक बस ये लड़का सेट करना है and आप पूरा कर दो. And that's how I started my brand, the first brand. And ऐसे ही मैंने थोड़ा excuse बढ़ाया. And like for me that was the solution कि picking out the right vendor जिनको daily काम नहीं मिल रहा. So that was the idea of it.
Okay. Other solutions?
So tapping into, sort of finding local vendors is definitely one solution. But at some point, like we also started like that, but we figured that it wasn't scalable after a certain point because, there has to be consistency in the packaging. The product has to be consistent for the customer as well. We sort of even tried to reach out to the bigger glass manufacturers in the country, and with them, the issue is quantities, right? They will only manufacture if you say order an X amount. So this problem, unfortunately, we are also still trying to find a solution. But if someone has here, I'd be happy to know.
I think, just on your point and, both your points as well, maybe it's time for local manufacturers to come up.
Yeah.
Who will support the ecosystem, doing lower MOQs, but also giving the quality at a right price. Any other solution ideas?
We faced a very similar typical problem. Our solution was, which everyone said not to do, was we just got into manufacturing ourselves and just got the outcome that we wanted.
What part of manufacturing are you doing for your shoes?
We do everything from design, conceptualizing to running on production scale.
I was asking from the manufacturing side. What do you manufacture everything?
Apart from the raw material, which will be like leather sheets, canvas, nylon sheets, and rubber soles, we procure them from our vendors, which is soles and everything. That is a raw material for the upper, but then it's all sort of cut, crafted, stitched together in our unit. So our solution was that we wanted to create a lot of different SKUs in a lot of different sizes, and no one was willing to give us the MOQs. And even leave all of that apart, no one was willing to go as fast as we wanted. So our learning was find the best solution that works for your company, be it like manufacturing it yourselves if you can do that, or even if that's importing from China, there's no shade in that because you need your company to succeed. So I feel like we did what was the best solution for us, at least from our experience.
Absolutely, yeah. Any other solution?
We did something in apparel. So many companies die, so many brands die because of overload of inventory. MOQ is a real problem. So, and we were very clear. Me and my co-founder, we both come from marketplace background, so we want to sell first and then make later. I think so. Hustled a lot initially. First partnered with the export houses. Now we've gotten vertically integrated, set up our own factory. And
Where's the factory?
Udyog Vihar in Gurgaon. Once we discovered PMF across, after testing multiple supply chains, we said we'll go all in on clothing. We'll hire the best craftsmen. We'll procure the best raw material, but we'll produce on demand, so that we as a company never keep MOQ upfront. There will be fabric MOQ, but there will be no FG.
No finished products.
No, yeah. So once the order comes, just like a pizza gets made once you place an order on Zomato, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Any
I
solution?
have a little different take what I learned. So because we work with a lot of rural people, and rural economy is very different from urban economy.
Yes, it's cash economies first of all.
Cash economy, the agreements and contracts don't work
exist,
there.
yeah.
So it's a very trust-based economy.
Yeah.
What we understood when we were initially working with different craftsmen, what we realized is that people who are hungry, maybe they've not had the chance, but they are more willing to work. Especially a lot of people who are now third generation, fourth generation artisans, but they have seen their parents struggle, but they really want to make a mark. Identifying those people and working with them has given us great results. So for example, we work with the cluster. It is entirely run by women. All the handlooms are
Where's
run
the
by
cluster?
women. It's in Bengal. And
So
usually,
they're making jamdanis?
yes,
Oh,
jamdanis
wow.
and linens.
Wow.
And they're like, bigger brands don't want to work with us because they're not sure whether we'll be able to produce on time or not. We did a pilot with them and absolutely amazing results. So what my learning was that people work with people and not with companies.
That's so true. That's well
So,
put, yeah.
Identifying the right people, that really helps who are willing to take that risk, because everyone wants to get big. It is just somebody who wants to get big and is willing to go that far. Identifying those partners, that has worked for us.
Great. Anybody else?
See, ever since 6 years at Trajectory, we always had this one tagline from Dando Investor, which says, heads you win, tails you don't lose much. And so we always had this small batches. Okay, start small. If it works, good for you, expand it. If it doesn't work, okay, let's try another batch. So first we thought of building the market, let's have a sales. Once we have sales, we can outsource initially. But the issue was the quality issue, consistency issue, kabhi match nahi hota hai India mein. So once we had our sales in our hand, then we started our manufacturing process. Usme we started with 1 machine, then 2 machines, then 3 machines. Jaise se samajh aaya process, parts, how it works, how it doesn't work, you keep on expanding the process. So keep it small, keep it frugal, keep it consistent. I believe that will work for you.
But do all of you feel that the ultimate solution then would be to do backward integration, have your own manufacturing? Because किस को सिखाओगे, right? कि this quality, this and consistency, it's hard to teach. अगर नहीं है, it's not sort of in your DNA. So is that the solution eventually for all of you?
That really helps. That really helps because once the team is in-house, for us, the stitched products, like for the sarees, everyone needs a blouse. So blouse we manufacture in-house, like the stitching. And what we realized while we try to work with external partners, working internally gives a lot more flexibility in terms of quality, in terms of
and
speed.
MOQs and speed,
MOQ.
all of
And
that.
timelines.
Yeah.
Speed is the most critical.
Yeah.
Speed is the most critical of all.
So that's a good segue for me to ask another question. So now, the Indian consumer is now used to 10 minutes. Everything is now 10 minutes. So you guys are in categories which unfortunately are not 10-minute friendly, even though you gave the pizza example. So, where you need souls, you need to sort of, get them, order them. How are you guys thinking from a customer point of view? Because I'll tell you my customer behavior. I'll see something nice online. The minute I see delivery is 3 days, 5 days, I'm like, I can't wait. Even though I don't need it right away. It's just now the mindset. So is it going to put pressure? How are you guys thinking of this instant delivery that...
I think commoditized supply versus unique supply. Commoditized supply where there's abundant replacement choices available, you need to deliver instantly or like as soon as possible. But I think if the supply is unique, people are willing to wait. And it's a human behavior that I think we see all over the world.
I think more like also adding on to that point, it is also about the necessity or the urgency of the product or the category in itself. So grocery, we have always been कि यार आज सुबह ये नहीं है जाके ले आते हैं मार्केट से. Like I think that's the way all of us or a lot of families हमेशा ऐसे ही था. But if you're talking about fashion or if you're talking about lifestyle and these kind of categories, itni urgency typically
What the
नहीं
consumer
होती.
is now thinking that they need.
Yeah, my opinion is, notwithstanding where I guess we are as a company, as a consumer, I think consumers would love 10-minute delivery for
Yeah.
fashion products. I feel like when we had longer movies or longer YouTube videos, nobody was asking for reels, but now there are reels, everyone's spending time on reels. Same was, yes, we want to be instantly gratified. Our little dopamine monkeys are wanting all that sweet nectar. So if it's there,
You should be a poet.
but yeah, if it's there, I think it's a very much a customer value add. But even before you get there, I feel like a lot of interesting brands that I see, they're doing same-day deliveries from stores in the city. Like if it's a Delhi-based
No, but then it
store,
comes to inventory. So therefore, my question was, how do you manage inventory stock so that you don't have dead stock unsold?
to link every, like the Shein or the Mango model, right? They're extremely linked models where they go from like I don't know if there's this case study where Shein would be putting just made up pictures on Instagram, get orders, and then fulfill them in like 5 days. So it comes from backward integration. It comes from the speed of interlinking with different physical products, and China can do it because its manufacturing is almost API linked in a way.
No, that's what Shein's success is, the API linking and very dense manufacturing sort of setups.
So two parts, the front end and back end. I think on front end, hunger, when you're craving something or when you're hungry, you want it instantly. I think fashion, lifestyle, people are still relatively willing to say that.
I'm not willing to wait. That's what, as a consumer
it's sustainable actually. I think the world has moved towards saying that, you know what, it is better for the planet, it is better, I'll be a better human being if I wait a little longer. And so I think we also have our role to play in the society as we educate that narrative. I think that's the front end. I think people are willing to, in food versus fashion, people can pardon fashion or lifestyle or home a little bit more than they can pardon food.
Let's ask the true blue on Gen Z here.
I think just one thing for sure, jitna accessible hoga utna bikega. Simple terms, right? That's one thing for sure, right? And matlab, I believe ki important hai urgent deliveries bhi, and a lot of people are working simultaneously, right? So obviously unique hai to rukenge log, and वो sustainability angle इतना play नहीं हुआ honestly. Like मैं hands down.
As GDP per capita rises, it's bound to happen.
Sorry about that, right?
I like the way you're being very gentle on him.
Right?
Feel free to let loose. Don't worry.
No, just I respect his point, right? And fair point, 100%. तो अभी वो build नहीं हुआ था, तो I believe quick होगा तो लोग लेंगे. जैसे मैं भी कुछ मुझे gift करना है. अब either your good products, excellent to be honest, right? But वो जल्दी नहीं आएंगे तो मैं देख नहीं पाऊंगा क्योंकि मैं एकदम last moment.
And so the answer I think is a song and dance between the right amount of inventory position and the right amount of leanness.
Yeah, a lot of people are working. I think Zippy is a perfect example of that, right? Local inventory and just delivering that, right? I think work कर रहा है, but still raw materials, innovation is very required in this fashion industry, right? क्योंकि जो 3 महीने पहले work कर रहा था वो अभी नहीं work करेगा. So figuring out the right balance is very important.
Oh, actually, innovation is at the back end only. Mostly at the supply chain, manufacturing, and I think proper experimentation also, because all of us are building brands. So getting the gist of the customer as quickly as possible, preferably without having those products, if you can do that. And then how you manage it at the back end, that okay, we have this information, can we get this out in 15 days, 30 days, whatever is the speed. But a lot of innovation probably lies at the back end.
I also have a contrarian opinion to this 10-minute thing, and maybe Garima can empathize is, people also want like really nice retail experiences as well. I don't want to be sitting in my house ordering from an app and unwrapping things. Sometimes I would just want to go to nice stores and see everything that's there and purchase. And e-commerce, online sales are rising, but the physical world just has a line.
No, but that's the point about physical retail, right? It is instant gratification. You see something, you like it, you buy it, you feel very happy. You get that little monkey happy. So the point comes back to the same thing, right? That how do you manage that instant gratification that customers have now begun to expect, especially of a certain TG? You know, in the metros for sure. I don't think anybody has patience. This is my read. I could be wrong.
And you need to stock up some amount of bestsellers. I think that's to because I think hopefully not 100% of your inventory is all sitting as
No,
FG.
so then the solution is really be a technology company, not just be a consumer company, right? Because the only way you can do all this analysis is if there's technology at the core.
I sort of agree with you when you say that even in fashion, urgency is important now. A big part of our category is gifting. And these days, because of the availability of goods so easily, people actually park the gifting purchase up until the last minute. And in that, what we've figured is that now, I think this is a big blessing, is that big companies like DHL are also creating smaller fulfillment centers across the country for brands like ours that are starting out to stock up smaller inventories and maybe deliver it next day or even same day. But the second point that has worked for us at least is that we've been able to identify the bestsellers pin code wise. So again, comes back to technology. That's where it ties up. And we stock more of those. But this is a learning that happens eventually with time. So distribution is a very important factor in this, tied up with tech and...
But what do you do about supply chain, the raw materials? How
well,
much do
you have to
stock?
plan ahead. You have to plan
So
ahead.
again, technology plays a role there.
Yes, we have our integration into softwares that predict for us, but we also obviously have our own prediction models. But you have to plan ahead, and it also changes, like for us with trends. Like sometimes in the winter there is a certain fragrance that's trending, but in the summer there is a different one that's trending. So you have to tie it up with tech. You have to have enough stock, and I mean how efficiently you can rotate your working capital and inventory. This is where the magic really happens of getting this right. Yeah.
See, I believe that the idea that everyone is saying urgency word, it's a very wrong perception कि मेरी category में urgency नहीं है, दूसरी में नहीं है. Consumer mindset is actually changing. एक टाइम था लोग 5 दिन की डिलीवरी को फास्ट मानते थे, फिर प्राइम आ गया, Amazon Prime, 1 day delivery. The perception changed. It's 10 minute is not urgency. It would be the new perception कि डिलीवरी 10 मिनट में होनी चाहिए किसी भी कैटेगरी में.
हाँ, it becomes a norm.
That's why quick commerce company are becoming giant, because now people are not waiting. कोई भी कैटेगरी हो. So if the brand owner is not going for a 10-minute delivery जहाँ पे convenience और customer experience matter करता है, तब तक आप survive ही नहीं कर पाओगे. Because if there is an infrastructure built for a brand where he can go for a 10-minute delivery and you're not going and he's your direct competitor, you will lose business.
No, bilkul. I completely agree with that. And within the e-commerce and all the other channels, what does everybody here feel about the most optimum channel for each of your specific businesses? Is it e-com? Is it Q-com? Is it offline, EBOs? What is it?
Our own web store.
D2C, Zindabad.
Yeah. D2C is the best channel also because it gives the right customer data.
But
We can speak
CAC,
to a
how do you
customer.
manage CAC?
Again, there are different levers for that. One of them is content today. So performance.
Welcome to the table.
Yeah. Performance has today become a content game. The better the content, the lower the CAC. And the thing with marketplaces is, of course, the scale comes in, but the commission is the CAC usually what is there. So once we keep optimizing the content, the creatives, and the performance, it actually helps in the longer run. Marketplaces, there's no data. We do not know who our customers is. The returns are very different. For example, for us, our marketplace returns are about 6x of our website returns.
Your marketplace is 6x?
Yes. But it is still 50% lower than the industry standards. So that means our website is quite good.
So the customer is able to understand the product and what they're getting.
Yeah.
So disappointment is less.
Disappointment is less. If they have any query, that query gets addressed before buying. If they have any after-sales support, that is there. And once they receive the product in the brand packaging and the brand story, that really helps them connect. In marketplaces, also what happens is, unfortunately, over a period of years, we are used to ordering multiple products, thinking that we would need only one, but I'll see whatever looks good on me and I'll return. Whereas when consumers are buying from brand websites, they know I'm going to buy what I want.
Got it.
I think adding to Nitin's point, D2C में ना कस्टमर कंट्रोल है. अगर एक प्रोडक्ट खराब जा रहा है, मैं कॉल के बोलता हूँ यार सर आप रिफंड ले लो, बट यार डोंट डू दैट, राइट? मार्केट प्लेस में वो बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है. And for me, like D2C
1
is
star
the-
rating मिल जाती है.
1 star rating मिल जाती है और पता भी नहीं चल रहा क्या हुआ.
हाँ, क्यों नहीं? हाँ.
People का mindset ऐसा है कि under a certain limit, right? I don't know, everyone has a different limit. अगर 1000 के लिए personally मेरे लिए कोई product बकवास है, मैं चलो ठीक है, कोई नहीं, मैं वापस नहीं शॉप करूँगा. So that becomes like that, right? And मेरा इसके लिए social first approach है, क्योंकि I believe right now perception change हो रहा है and people are buying the story behind the product, not they are buying the brand. और वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आजकल लोग प्रोडक्ट नहीं ले रहे, वो पूरा स्टोरी ले रहे हैं एंड दे वांट एन एक्सपीरियंस, पूरा एंड टू एंड की अनबॉक्सिंग कैसे हो रहा है, सपोर्ट कैसा है. एंड दैट्स बीन द बिगेस्ट चेंज सिंस कोविड, आई बिलीव. एंड आई थिंक अर्जुन हैज phenomenally tapped into that. I've been learning from him personally, right?
Arjun, you're clearly a star. You got, people who want to learn from you. That's incredible.
No, but I think both the gentlemen, the points that they made is true. Like when you do, and this is also a factor of the scale where our companies are. The biggest brands of the world also sell on Amazon. So in my opinion, the marketplaces are like not never, but we have a lot of focus on our website just because of the focus we can add on the customer. And in reality, the CAC is lower than the marketplaces. Yes, because maybe 10 years ago, SEO or blogs was the way how you sort of put your word out. Now it's content, because the algorithms serve the right content to the right people. And it may be organic, it may be paid, but it's very, very focused. And if you have a very focused communication and a brand and a proposition, you're connecting directly to the unmet need of the customer.
But are you able to build trust? Because one reason that a lot of startups would, list on Amazon or any of the e-com marketplaces was that, okay, if it's on Amazon, then it's trustworthy. At least it's a real thing, it's a genuine thing. So is there a trust issue if you're not on marketplaces?
That has actually changed in last few years. So back in the day, if a brand is on marketplace, that built credibility. Today, people, if they're buying a premium product, they prefer to go to the brand's website or app because they know that it is going to be a genuine product. Whereas for a lot of lifestyle categories, a lot of fakes are there in the marketplaces.
Yes.
So that's why people are hesitant when they are buying for a premium product on any marketplace. So for a brand, D2C front actually works as a better channel, primarily because of this.
But I think consumer mind भी बहुत different है. This example my mom dad, typical 50s, right? वो लोग Amazon नहीं prefer करते अभी भी. And that's very different apparently. Gen Z's नए try कर रहे हैं. Right, but अभी मेरे mom dad तो मुझे पीछे पड़े कि भाई Amazon में डाल आयुष, नहीं तो क्या कर रहा है? Like भाई scale आएगा, लोग देखेंगे, trust बहुत है. एंड कैटेगरी मैटर बहुत करता है. आई स्टिल हैव कस्टमर्स कि यार आप Amazon में नहीं हो, मैं कैसे ट्रस्ट कर लूँ, या आप फ्लिपकार्ट पे नहीं हो, मुझे वो सस्ता मिल रहा है, वो सब इट जस्ट
Discounting is
plays a huge role in that.
I'd actually like to add to Nitin's point is that a big part of a premium purchase in India is also how the customer is treated after the purchase is done, which they think may not happen at Amazon as well as it would happen on a brand's website, right? If there is a concern, we would address it almost immediately. They know that there's going to be answers that we will get back, or if there is a refund, it will happen more promptly than it would happen on a marketplace. So the D2C websites, like even for us, it's our best channel. First time customer acquisition cost is higher, but then the lifetime consumer value, it averages out because we can tap into retention.
How people buy fragrances?
Well, for us, it's sitting on an average about 3 months. So the lifetime customer value becomes, if the product has promise, obviously, you can get a good lifetime value out of it, which you cannot get out of marketplaces. Retention for us plays a very important role. It performs wonderfully for us. So that way, I think a D2C works out better, especially when you are starting out, because you can get your customer base, you can interact with them on a daily basis. And a part of their experience is that we are being looked after. They want to be looked after even after the purchase is over, which is not possible on marketplaces. So I agree with you when you say that about a premium product.
Any other thoughts?
See, I believe usually I've talked to investors and D2C brand owners. I've seen that they see e-commerce or marketplace as a devil. And why is that? Okay.
Giving them a lot of SEO, the e-com guys. But anyway, please continue.
And why do they say it's like a devil? Because customer data नहीं मिल रहा. But you get the product data and you get the reality of the actual product. Because आप अपनी वेबसाइट में तो रिव्यू हटा दोगे, Amazon पे तो नहीं हटा सकते आप. And you see actually क्या work कर रहा है क्या नहीं work कर रहा है. Plus the customer data points are so strong on e-commerce. Amazon में you get voice of customer. It's so intense.
I think Amazon should sponsor this episode. We've given it so much airtime right now, but
But the reality is these platform blocks you a lot. जैसे you can only put certain kind of pics. You can't stand out from the rest of the crowd. So in website you get to stand out from the crowd, but on the marketplace you get the infrastructure. Plus delivery at the end of the day, even if you're a D2C brand, for delivery, which is a very important part of the business, you are bounded with third parties, and the customers are not getting the products on time.
yeah, it's a
and
terrible
that becomes,
experience. Terrible experience. That's where the breakdown is happening actually.
Because earlier what was happening is कि हम D2C कर रहे हैं, the customer is getting product at 10 days.
Exactly. And वो घंटी बजा रहा है, पता नहीं कब आ रहा है, मतलब हाँ OTP. Oh, the bane of all our existence. Actually, I think the D2C founders, if there was some thinking as to what to do with the last mile, because that's a really broken experience, And I think that's why people then prefer to go back to either QCom or then to eCom, because the experience is good. The last mile is, a decent experience. So you're saying that omni-channel is the right approach. Is that what you're saying?
Build a balance. Once you start understanding what product actually works for the whole niche, and once you have the product in your hand, then go for the website. That was our approach first.
So did you think that slowed you down, or do you think that you could have done both at the same time?
I would say it didn't slow us down because we are a bootstrap company. We need profits. We can't burn the profit. Plus, we are not in a sector which is high repeat rate, right? When you don't have the repeat rate, you need to find the money from every corner that you have. So you go to a marketplace, you build your trust out there. It becomes easier to capture the customer out there. You then go to D2C because आप वहाँ का profit यहाँ लगा सकते हो. Especially for us, हमने तो वही कर रहे हैं.
So that was your strategy because you needed to generate enough cash flow. Yeah.
But I think category बहुत depend करता है. Like fragrance और मेरा home decor में अगर कोई marketplace से मेरा order आया है, I'm not sure कि वो वापस repeat लेगा. I think क्योंकि options 10 आ जाते हैं फिर. जैसे looking for a table, तो मेरा table एक बार बिक चुका है, but दूसरी बार उसके पास 10 options आएंगे तो I believe for me, for your brand will be different. I think 70-30 should be the split in my opinion. क्योंकि फिर repeat hamper हो जाता है. उनके पास 10 options आ जाए. अच्छा ये ले या वो ले. तो वो चीज़ आ जाता है.
Offline के बारे में, how does everybody think about offline?
In clothing, I think there's tremendous scale online. So we think you can 0 to 1 journey has been online, 1 to 10 journey will also be online. I think the 10 to 100 journey is when we'll start thinking about offline.
But it's needed at a certain...
At some point, but I think again comes to category maturity. Clothing has been it's been 15 years in India. I think very, very strong depth at the right price point, at the right assortment. So much later, we've pushed that out.
I have a very contrary opinion on this. See, clothing is a touch and feel product, and offline really works. So we've been doing pop-ups all across the country, and it really builds trust, and this in turn helps online sales to go up.
That's how Raw Mango built it. Pop-ups mein.
Yeah, pop-ups.
For your price point or for the luxury price point, I think that is absolutely needed. But I think the more price is low in India, the more people are willing to, especially as disposable income rises. But I think again,
like for a very massy category,
absolutely.
Yes, it's not may not be required. But whenever it's a premium category like us, people really like to try. But what also helps in online, so usually people come and shop with their friends or somebody, and now when they are trying the product, so then budget goes out of the mind. In online, when somebody has a budget of 5,000, they will buy for 5,000, 6,000.
Gratification, ना अच्छा लग रहा है 3 चीजें और दे दो.
अच्छा लगा वो 5,000 का budget हो गया 20,000 का. So that really builds the business. So depends on the category and the price point, but offline I believe has a whole lot of potential in this clothing category for sure.
I think price point definitely. So talking about performance footwear, so people who would want to buy like a Vaporfly or they would want to buy like a Nova Blast A6 ka. At that price point and the expectation that the consumer has, they are really picky. They want to be in the store. They want to know what is there in the shoe.
How is it going to help them. You want to have a conversation.
Yeah. It is an extremely informed choice, and I think it should be true for any high AOV category. So I think we are seeing that in furniture also. Like a lot of these brands which are online only have come up offline, and it has really helped them scale. I think price point definitely, and also the category. If there is specificity that the consumer is looking for, displaying that and building that trust just online in a very long term will definitely be difficult. I think D2C, the entire ecosystem has. We are also kind of very lucky to be building in an ecosystem where it has kind of become a little straightforward. Set up shop, there is shipping, so we can do all of that at least to launch off. But yeah, in the long term, depending upon the price that you are at, you need to provide that experience. You need to build that trust, and then it is like it's a very high touch purchase for the consumer.
आई थिंक इंडिया इज स्टिल लाइक अभी जनरल ट्रेड बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है 70% अभी जनरल ट्रेड हो रहा है इंडिया में एंड आई थिंक बीइंग ऑफलाइन इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्योंकि लोग मेरे केस में जैसे एग्जाम्पल मैंने कुछ भी लिया है आई एसोसिएट ब्रांड विद दैट वन पर्सन जस्ट द सेल्समैन अरे शर्मा जी है चलो बेस्ट रेट मिल जाएगा एंड उसके थ्रू इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलता है एंड सब कुछ मिलता है एंड बीइंग इन अ होम डेकोर कैटेगरी लुक एंड फील टच क्वालिटी बताना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है एंड हर एक कस्टमर किंग होता है वो एक कहावत है राइट तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है और वो हम लोग ऑफलाइन ट्रेड पे बहुत ईजिली कर सकते हैं तो आई बिलीव गोइंग ऑफलाइन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू एनी ब्रांड वो नीड्स टू एक्सपैंड क्योंकि लॉयल्टी बहुत बढ़ जाता है क्योंकि आप बोलोगे अरे शर्मा जी थे वहाँ से मैंने कुछ किया है रेफरल इंक्रीजेज राइट एंड एक्सेसिबिलिटी ऑल्सो इंक्रीजेज तो बहुत मेरे हिसाब से दैट्स माई पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू विच इज़ इंपॉर्टेंट
So at this point, I want you to ask me questions. So if anybody has questions for me, please go for it. Any question? There's complete silence. कोई सवाल नहीं है.
How do you add tech in your any kind of business? What do you feel? How, you know?
So I have always felt that there should be tech in D2C. So when we first started looking at D2C and investing in D2C, I used to always ask this question. Then I began to realize that, the cohort of founders that were building in 2017-18, who eventually got venture funded, nobody was looking at tech. Their focus was product and e-com and D2C kar rahe the, but Shopify pe, you could set up your store. So there was no understanding, I think, and also I think investors were not also asking those questions. But increasingly, I think the questions will get asked, and I definitely intend to ask that question more and more because I think, when there's an external event that happens that changes how the customer, thinks, shops, how do you keep up? You can't keep up otherwise. I mean, if you're going to be obsolete even before you become a large company, so then what's the point, right? So Q-commerce has really shifted the consumer, really, really. And India, the other thing, customer has always been more than king, I think, bacha hai, right? And with money and, people now being able to spend more, the expectations are through the roof. So how do you satisfy the customer? And they have so many more choices. So I think technology will help significantly for all of this, How do you manage your inventory? What is the innovation beyond the product, the core product that you're offering to the customer? So I do believe it's important, but I also do realize that it's hard for a founder to do everything. वो भी बहुत मुश्किल होता है at an early stage, it costs a lot of money. So, but I think a founder should have a roadmap at least. If they don't have it in the beginning.
I have one. So in the best of the brands that you've seen built out of India, what do you think has really made a place in the consumer's mind? What is it that they've cracked?
Unique language of the product itself. Again, a lot of founders, I think, in India are either doing Me Too products, which means not Me Too category. So category, let's say, can be FMCG. But if you're going to make one more product, which let's say Britannia is doing, or in beauty, let's say what Unilever or L'Oreal is already doing, why should the consumer come to you? I mean, price is not enough anymore for the Indian consumer. So what is that uniqueness? And that uniqueness has to really, people don't understand how difficult it is actually to come and distill that core of that uniqueness. And then everything works in concentric circles around that. And that actually, if that thinking is done, you will build, that's your moat, that's your fortress. People think moat is money, or people think, acha, mere paas itna LTV hai, but that's not your moat. Your moat is that unique way of thinking. And from that, when you build everything, so whether it's your team, whether it's how you market, everything comes from there. And that's, I think, to my mind, is when you build a super strong brand. That's how I see it.
I have one. So, I mean, you're an investor, right? You know, you have skin in the game, and you're investing based on sort of your hypothesis as well. What is one contrarian opinion you have that most people will disagree with, or other?
All my opinions are contrarian. I don't have a single opinion. So, like, you take this table for example. I'll you know, to use this table itself as an illustration of being contrarian. You look at how people are, most VCs or most people are doing content. You try and get people who have great following, who are big stars or celebrities in whichever domain, right? And then the logical thinking is ki my followers, uske followers, you know, together we'll be able to. But can you imagine the poor customer out there, or the listener or the consumer of the content? I mean, they don't necessarily want that, right? I mean, you need to intuitively understand something and do something which is completely differentiated. So, you know, like when we talk to PR agencies, you know, when people are like, a lot of people want to now come and pitch to us saying, we want your mandate. And everybody will say, Acha, this is a good IP, but why don't you get, you know, Nikhil Kamath or anything? And no disrespect to them. But how is that differentiated, right? I mean, they have their own place and, you know, they have a point of view. So if you don't do things differently, and when you do things differently, look, there's always a pushback, right? Either from your team or people around you, and you'll also sometimes feel that it's a very long journey. But you have to be contrarian to be able to, because again, what's your unique voice? What's your unique input? Why should anybody listen to this, for example? Why should anybody spend an hour watching this? It has to be different. It has to be. There's no other way.
I have a question. So, amongst all the brands that you have interacted with, founders that you have known, if there was one common trait which is like a non-negotiable amongst the people that you have seen do really well within founders, how would you articulate that? Like, is it speed of execution, product obsession? And there are many other traits, of course.
You know, if I had the answer to that, I'd be Warren Buffett. But so
No, but
therefore,
still, like your point of view there.
So I think it'll have to be a mix, because you know, a founder cannot have only, or a startup can't only have one sort of vector, right? It has to have at least 2, 3 to my mind. So speed of execution, 100% for a VC funded business, because like I said, today you're likely to get disrupted very quickly. So just as you're building, you know, you've got your building blocks, and something else happens, which is happening. So it also, you know, your hard work goes to waste. So that means you go back to the drawing board again. So speed of execution, no two ways about it. I think that's a very, very important thing. But I think, like what I said earlier also, to my mind, if a founder is not able to think a little ahead, so this technology part that we spoke, can you do it today? Maybe not. I mean, on day one, there's just too many things. You know, just getting the first prototype out is itself a very, very, you know, it's a challenge. It's not easy. So, but if you have no thinking around it, or you're dismissive of it, I would worry. So I'm very worried when founders are dismissive about, when you try and challenge their hypothesis, their way of thinking. And to me, a founder who's able to explain it, or try and understand, you know, the point of view maybe that I'm bringing to the table, it shows that the founder is very mature, and that's what you look for. So maturity is not a function of age, it's a function of how you've evolved as a thinker. Do you have critical thinking, as opposed to you follow the herd? So, you know, investors are blamed for having FOMO, but so do founders. You know, तो वो कर रहा है तो मैं भी यही करूँगा, वो नहीं tech कर रहा है तो why should I do tech? So what happens is you lose out. Actually, you do better if you did your own thinking and arrived as to your reasons for doing something, as opposed to
Authenticity, essentially.
I have
very, very
one
important.
question. Sorry to interrupt. What are your thoughts on India being price sensitive?
It was price sensitive, but even to that point, I've always maintained this. Again, if we were to all look at ourselves as customer personas, look, we've all paid a lot also for the same, let's say, category product, and we've also gone and bargained or tried to get the cheapest. So what, if we were to analyze our own behavior, what is the difference between when we paid a lot, even when we know we are paying a lot, right? The difference is, I think some of the points that everybody made, how does the product make you feel, the brand makes you feel, and the brand experience, right? So Apple, I feel so good when I have an Apple product. I mean, the functionality of Samsung is the same, but why do I buy Apple? It's not because they are tech first. So it's what, a brand makes you feel. That's
So
it.
you mean to say value for money in simple terms?
Yeah, but I think that's also not a good way to encapsulate what I'm saying. It's more about, see, so your point about humans, human beings buy from human beings. And the product is an expression of that transaction, basically. So then if a product, so, I mean, one reason I get very irritated with a lot of shopping experience in India is it's so subpar. So you go into, let's say, a multi-retail store, like literally 10 salespeople will pounce on you. And it is annoying. And this is, in a premium category product. And you're like, look, don't hound me. Then you pick up one product, they'll keep trying to sell you 20 more things. That's just terrible way to
Sell right now.
Yeah. So I'll walk out. I will not buy. So it's not that I can't afford it or I didn't want that product, but the experience was just so bad. So it's how a product and company makes you feel. And that whole 360 sort of, when you surround your customer with a pillowy love, that's when, you'll pay your kidney also to that brand, which is what we do to Apple all the time.
100%.
But yeah, I think, I don't know, I don't have a pithy phrase for it, but that's when I think you can sell anything at any price.
And any tips for early stage
A
founder?
24-year-old by any chance?
100%. Right.
I think, the age thing works in your favor when you're truly willing to be a contrarian. If you're going to just do more of the same, then it doesn't matter whether you're 24 or 54 or, 34. But in doing something different, it has to be based on having analyzed as to why you're rejecting something also. See, rejecting something should not be a function that just because it's there, therefore it's redundant or old. So how do you do your own thinking? What's that fresh pair of eyes perspective? So why do startups succeed versus legacy companies is that, right? I mean, every startup has a fresh way of looking at
Looking things,
the
right.
same category, the same
100%.
consumer sometimes. So yeah, to me, I think for you to, really realize all your ambitions is if you were to continue to challenge the conventional.
Yeah, 100%. Makes sense. That's a valid point. I think one of the few great products I've came across. Have you heard about the brand Killer? It's just recently phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
breaking the conventional. That's also
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Something in those eyes. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
There's one question I'm always obsessed about. It's not about what to do. It's about what you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. There's
Because-
more you shouldn't do than what you should do.
Because the time and energy जो आप lose करते हो गलत चीज को करने में, तब तक कोई और startup win कर जाएगा. So what do you think is for D2C के लिए कि what shouldn't they be doing? Like what should be there?
Not sign up celebrities. That
Guilty.
to me, sorry. Then my apologies. I think founders have to have the highest conviction, and it's hard. Of course, it's hard because a lot of people will tell you, "Ki aisa kar le." You see your friends or maybe competitors; they seem to be doing better. But conviction नहीं होगा ना, तो वहाँ पे वो focus defocus हो जाता है कि let me do this also. थोड़ा सा ये भी आज AI है तो AI भी डाल देते हैं, And a lot of founders do that अपने deck में now because Gen AI is getting investors. So चलो somewhere let me add Gen AI to the. So I think the judgment call a founder makes is the only skill a founder actually has to have. No other skill. It doesn't matter whether you know maths, whether you know accounting. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Whether you know how to make the product that you make, whether you know the process, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. But it's all this judgment कि अगर if you're not getting the right supply chain, how do you get to the shortest way to get the best supply chain for you and the most cost effective and reliable supply chain? अब बाकी कोई कर रहा है नहीं कर रहा है, it's right, wrong, I mean don't focus on those things. India में we tend to be very judgmental also and we are very free and open with our judgments. हम सबको बोल देते हैं कि oh you're wrong and you should do it this way. So you should, sorry?
100% that's सुना है मैंने बहुत.
हाँ, तो you've got to do the right thing by what you're building, but be open to new influences and new ideas and thoughts, because judgment वहाँ पे ही आएगी ना. If you're fixated on your own thinking and you continue to do the same thing incorrectly, so even if you're focused on it, you're still focused on the wrong thing, right? So you've got to be open as well as focus and determined कि this is the solution I found. I've looked at everything, but this looks like the best. And उसमें भी you learn by doing. I mean, there's no straight answer. I mean, Garima can, for her, China may work, but for you, China may not work because categories are different. I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons why something works for one founder will not work for another founder. So, अपने आप को बहुत एक दूसरा, I think, protect yourself a lot. There is a lot of distractions now for founders compared to even 5 years ago. There are just too many distractions. So be mindful of those distractions. If somebody says कि ये करो या वो करो, ask that question that, why should I do it? Don't make it transactional. So again, Indians go in this other direction कि बिल्कुल transaction हो जाएंगे कि हाँ पैसा रखो तभी I'll do this. Because sometimes again opportunities emerge when you do unusual or new things. But at the same time, कि इस panel पे आ जाओ, यहाँ पे speaker बन जाओ, वहाँ पे guest. I mean, it takes up a lot of time, and that will lead to, dissipated energy. You'll get tired. So it's important to keep all this in mind.
Like it's learning to say no to certain things.
A lot of things, not just certain things, a lot of things. See, हमारे life में, India में, anyway, there's distraction, family की distraction होती है, friends की distraction, वैसे ही होती है. Everybody, gives you emotional अत्याचार कि यहाँ नहीं आए, मेरे birthday पे क्यों नहीं आए. So anyway, there's a bunch of your time that is going to get in, it gets taken by these things. So how much time do you actually have to work, in a very focused manner? So no बोलना तो बहुत ज़रूरी है, And see, like a lot of successful founders will say this, कि they don't have friends. So again, ये LinkedIn में लिख दो, बस तुम्हारे comment section में people will say, how dare you, work-life balance. And to each their own. I mean, if that's what you value, it's fine. But honestly, for a founder, how can you have time for friends? Because literally, how can you? You can't keep up. You don't have that money also. So if you don't have the time, it's a little while वो नाराज़ हो जाएंगे. Then they'll forget you because then they'll find other friends to party with. And then when you're super successful, they'll all come back. They'll say, तुम तो हमारे बचपन के दोस्त थे, So success has many fathers.
What have you had to unlearn to be good at your craft?
Everything, I think. No, because life changes, right? And if you're not able to appreciate that change, again, it's one of those conundrums of the human existence that we like more of the same, but then we also crave change. But when change happens, we don't appreciate it or like it. So you do have to rethink, relook at things. So, when Rukam first came up, there were some companies we had said no to. In one case, I said no twice. But then we still went ahead and did those investments because either the founders were able to bring something new to the front, or the companies or businesses had evolved from the time that I had said no to them. So that also, again in India, it becomes a big ego thing कि मना कर दिया तो मना कर दिया. Like I will not revisit. But you've got to, you have to be open to hear why you were wrong. And, all of us are wrong more often than not. And in some cases you get lucky, and in some cases you don't get lucky. So yeah, you've got to keep unlearning a lot. So one of the things I tell anybody who joins Rukam is for 6 months, just unlearn everything you've come with. Everybody. I mean, there's not a person who's not heard this from me. And then even after they've been here for years, I still keep saying unlearn, unlearn, unlearn. Because the biggest barrier to growth is if you, hold on to old ideas and thoughts, to my mind. Any other questions? I think we are about to be out of time. So if anybody has, any comments? Any final comments everybody wants to make on, the journey ahead, learning from each other, peer support. How important is that to succeed?
I think one takeaway from this conversation is the judgment thing that you said, because when we are also looking for the team, what I realized over a period of time is that everything is common sense, everything can be learned.
Exactly.
तो judgment अगर हो और common sense हो तो सारी चीजें मतलब we are actually not building rockets.
Yeah,
So we
even
don't
in
need
rockets actually. So I used to work for a defense company and we used to build rockets. And yeah, so I used to say that even rocket science is not rocket science because वो भी तो इंसान ही कर रहे हैं ना. So you can learn everything. It's common sense. Even rockets are built on common sense. So any other thoughts? Final thoughts? Closing thoughts?
No, it's really good breakfast. I've managed to get through a lot of my food.
Oh, good
which
for
was
you.
Very nice. So compliments to the chef. And no, it was a lovely conversation. I think it was a very nice group. I feel to just and I've heard about most of the brands and the things that folks are building here. So it's just great to see them in flesh. So thank you so much for.
No, you're
bringing us
welcome,
together.
and there'll be more of
Yes.
this good food after the camera stop rolling. Your final thoughts?
I think very good to meet everyone. Just reinstates faith, conviction, builds a lot of momentum. I think a lot of this is about momentum building, at least in the initial stages. So speaking with folks who are going through practically like similar journeys is very helpful. So really, thanks a lot for putting this together.
Thank you so much. It was great. Learned a lot from कि Amazon भी focus करना है. E-commerce great for data points and stuff. And amazing brands, to be honest. That's the best thing. Fragnode is amazing. Lemonade, Dresswalk, and he's starting up.
कल स्पॉन्सरशिप के पैसे आने चाहिए Amazon के.
Seriously, man. I mean, after this, अगर नहीं आए तो हम पे लानत है.
You should post them.
No, they should approach us, yeah. मतलब इतना airtime दे दिया, where will they get this kind of airtime? Final thoughts?
मुझे आजकल ऐसे लग रहा है the people you surround with is very important. Like co-founder हो गया, even learning phase के लिए भी, because you learn from other people's mistakes. So जितना मौका मिले, meet people, talk to them, especially founders. किसी ना किसी से कुछ ना कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा.
Great conversation, and it's always good to meet founders because you feel like sometimes it's a lonely journey. So you feel
All the time.
all the time. So when you meet people who are facing the same challenges every day, it's good to know that it also motivates you to be consistent, because I think that is the only one key skill that every founder needs to have. You have to show up every day. So when you see everyone and are surrounded by people who are doing that every day, it's great. It's very motivating. Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah, no, thanks for enriching comments from everyone. I'll just say distribute this well, reduce our CACs.
I will try my best.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Yeah, thank you.
So with this, I close another table. And I must say that the camaraderie of founders, the ability to be able to talk to each other is one of the reasons why we started this. And I think the comments that we heard today, maybe we are doing a little bit of a good job. Thank you.